Hi everyone, this is a video FreeBSD 15 versus Debian 13. I already made a video about FreeBSD 15, it's this one, and I had a lot of hardware issues with FreeBSD 15, but I also have some more better hardware for FreeBSD. So in this video I will compare these both operating systems with software that runs on both the OSs. So why Debian Linux and FreeBSD? Because both are minimal and stable OSs. Both operating systems are used on servers, so you can run it for long time without any issues. But of course, if you run the operating system on real hardware, you have to be sure that the hardware is recognized by the operating system, and on FreeBSD it's complicated. And it's also important to note that FreeBSD is not a Linux distro. So if some hardware or some software works on Linux, it doesn't mean that it will also run on FreeBSD. But most of the software for Linux also runs in FreeBSD, so it depends. And in this video I showed you a lot of software that doesn't run well on FreeBSD, so it isn't recognized, or you get kernel panics. But luckily I found some hardware that I own that it's well supported by FreeBSD. And in this case, this is AMD Ryzen 7 3750H, so it's a mini PC, and it works fine on FreeBSD. So the network is supported, and also the video card is supported. So this is the first test that I run. It's a web browser benchmark, but I also tried other benchmarks. And what is important about this video is that it is on real hardware, so it isn't a virtual machine, so you need to find compatible hardware for FreeBSD. So what to test? I started with browser performance, and I chose Chromium, which is available on both operating systems. So this is Chromium 143 in FreeBSD, and it is available in PKG, Package Manager for FreeBSD. This is the score that you get with the speedometer, which is a famous test to try the CPU and the GPU of the computer. And the environment that you are seeing is Hyperland. Okay, and it's also important to see the about GPU flags. So as you can see, it's quite supported and hardware accelerated, so it's important. And on Linux you have I have the same flags accelerated on Debian, so it's really a comparable test. And the score that I get with the speedometer 3.1 is 9.31. This is another test to see the RAM consumption. And I have 4GB.5 with just Hyperland with a video open on FreeBSD. And this is the same test with a similar version of Chromium on Debian, which is 142. and the score that I get on Debian is 8.10, so it's a little bit less than the score you get on FreeBSD. And the hardware is the same, so the same here, the same CPU, which is also AMD Radeon Vega 10 graphics integrated. So in this test, speedometer, FreeBSD wins, and this is the flags available on Linux, which are the same that you find in FreeBSD. And the RAM consumption here, it's a little bit less. It's 2 GB, but this RAM isn't very relevant. It's better to use btop to know the exact RAM usage, because FreeBSD works a little bit different. So it almost fill all the available RAM and then starts to free the RAM that isn't used. So don't take this information. You have to see the real available RAM. So it's better to use btop, not htop. Then I tried the aquarium, Webgl aquarium, and with 1500 fishes I get 57 FPS score. This is on Debian, and this is the same test on FreeBSD. So I get with 15k fishes I get 60 FPS. So the score also on GPU is similar, comparable, and with 20k fishes I get 47 on FreeBSD, and I get 40 on Linux with 20k fishes. So also here the FreeBSD performance are a little bit better than Debian, so it's impressive. I did also the test with Firefox, and as I said, FreeBSD sometimes it has a lot of packages that you just find in Arch Linux and not in Debian, like Hyper Sunset. So it's good, but as I said, it's software per software consideration. You can't generalize. This is a speedometer on Firefox FreeBSD, and this is a speedometer on Firefox on FreeBSD without the red night light. And as you can see, the score is similar. And okay, these are other tests. This is Firefox on Debian. This is a test of network transfer. So for the network transfer, I just copied a file from a computer to another, and with Debian I get 114 megabyte per second, and in FreeBSD I get a similar result, but then it slowed down the performance, the network performance. But I think that this is because the operating system is installed on external USB SSD drive, So I think this is the reason of this degradation. But at the beginning, the performance is the same. Okay. This is an issue that I found on FreeBSD, which is OBS on Wayland. It can't find the correct monitor to record, but if you try it with a partial screen recorder, it worked. So I think it's a minor issue, and on Reddit somebody probably fixed this configuration issue. Some other software that I wanted to try, I wasn't able to run opencode because it requires ban, but ban isn't yet supported on FreeBSD. I tried Docker, but yeah, the compatibility isn't great. It runs with very simple Docker images on FreeBSD, but with the more complex one you get weird errors. This is the command for the standby, which gives weird errors like zroot has encountered an uncorrectable IO failure. This is after the wake up from the suspend. And yeah, these are other benchmarks that I added to my test. This is FreeBSD 143 Chromium. And I used this website, which is quite convenient to use, which is userbenchmark.org. So you can also use it to test computers where you can't install software. And on FreeBSD, I got the overall score of 932. But the most interesting part is the RAM performance, which is 660. And okay, this is another attempt to do the score. So it's 911, the second test. And this is another website to test the RAM speed on FreeBSD. This is the website to do RAM speed test, and I got with 500 megs 55 megabyte per second write and 74 megabyte per second read. And this is another test that I did to test the RAM performance, and I don't know why. I think that FreeBSD has some issues with the RAM speed. I also tried to tweak some parameters in the FreeBSD kernel, but I have a weird situation where making this benchmark, the application freezes for something like 1 or 2 minutes. So it's quite weird that FreeBSD has higher scores in some benchmarks, but in reality it is slower, and the bottleneck for me is especially the RAM speed in FreeBSD. I still have to investigate why. And here we get a lower score, but not by much, which is 657 score with user benchmark. So after the freeze you get the final results. Okay, and this is the same test on Debian. So this is a write speed of the RAM 63, and in FreeBSD it was something like 53. So it's like 10 megabyte per second less speed in FreeBSD. In normal usage, I think that you do not notice this slowdown in memory, but if you do some stress tests on FreeBSD, you get slower values of RAM speed, and you feel it. This is Debian, and you get the overall result of 938, and the memory it's 689, so it's a little bit more, but on Debian I do not have the freeze during this test. So if you want to try, this is the website, and you can try on your operating system to see the results. This is a native tool to test the RAM, which is sysbench memory run, and yeah, you have to install this tool. The other one is in the browser, but in both situations in the browser you can already feel the difference. And this is BitOp, so if you want to really consider the memory available, consider this parameter, so memory available, memory free, and memory total. And in FreeBSD often you have a little free memory, but you have a lot of available memory, so it's memory that you can use if you need it. Okay, these are other tests, always user benchmark website. This is Debian, so similar scores. Then I tried the artificial intelligence, so I used the llama.cpp, which is also supported on FreeBSD. And the version is a little bit different between Debian and FreeBSD, but you get the scores. So this is llama.cpp, and with quen free for B instruct model, and this is on FreeBSD, and I used a test prompt. This is the result, and I get 8.7 token per second. I did the same test also on Linux. This is another test on FreeBSD, and I got 8.6 token per second, so similar result. I also check the RAM configuration, and this is the same test on Debian with quen free for B model quantized, and here I get 10.35 token per second, so it's about 2 tokens more on Linux. And this test is very RAM intensive, so you can feel the difference of the RAM speed in this kind of test. This is another try, it's 10.75 token per second, and this is the situation with BitOp. Okay, sometimes also on Linux you could get segmentation fault if the model isn't properly run. Okay, this is another try with the same model on Linux. And there are many ways to run llama.cpp on Linux. So you can pick ROCm, CPU, or Vulkan. And in my situation, the best way to run llama.cpp on Linux is CPU. So it depends on your hardware. Probably if you have a powerful GPU, you could use Vulkan or ROCm if you have an AMD GPU. But in this situation, the llama.cpp with Vulkan support has a lower score than CPU. So because it's a GPU integrated. Okay. This is another tool which is interesting to debug the llama.cpp run, which is mvtop, and this software isn't available on FreeBSD. But this is the situation. So you get the GPU chart of usage, and you can also use the llama.cpp with the command line interface. But nowadays llama.cpp also have a web UI that you can run like this. So if you run llama.cpp with web support, you can use this integrated UI. Okay, this is the test that frees FreeBSD, and if you scroll, you can see also other info. So the memory usage, the temperature, and the CPU usage. This is Radeon Top, which is a different utility to see the GPU part status. And okay, these are other details for the FreeBSD used in the test, so in Wayland mode. And here we have 12 gigabyte available. And this is the same test on Debian. And with mvtop, you can see that it starts to use the GPU. And this chart isn't very evident if you use just htop to see this. Okay, so again, the user benchmark test on Debian. Okay, so other interesting part that I did not test is the file system benchmark. So FreeBSD ZFS versus Linux ZFS, but it seems that ZFS works a little bit better on FreeBSD, and you also do not have to install an additional driver that you need to install on Linux. But I didn't test that because I'm using a USB SSD. And conclusion, you can do with FreeBSD mostly what you can do with Linux. So it's, I think, a positive consideration about this minor operating system. Probably the biggest pro of FreeBSD is the native support for ZFS, and also Geli ZFS, which is the native encryption for ZFS file system on FreeBSD. Cons, I think it has memory speed issues for the RAM, and probably some issues are also in the GPU driver on Radeon MED integrated graphics. And also it has more limited supported for available hardware and software, because some software depends on specific API calls on Linux kernel, and it doesn't have always a easy translation for FreeBSD. That's it. Thanks for watching, and leave me a comment and subscribe if you found this video useful. See you. Bye.